Hey everyone, Rob here, and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Yeah, it's been over a week since I last uploaded to this channel and this podcast, and I apologize for that. So, a really quick explanation on this one. I've obviously got some pretty bad teeth. You can see that in all of my videos, and I got an abscess above one, and that got massively infected and spread to the bone in my face. And then it just kind of exploded and poofed up my whole face. I'll pop up a picture so you guys can see what that looked like. It wasn't fun and I couldn't talk very well. And I was in and out of the hospital where they decided to miss an IV completely and blow out my arm, but that's another story. Anyway, we're gonna get back to it. I've got some Tales from Tech Support for you today. I hope you enjoy it. I'm back. I'm recording again. Obviously, everything's looking good again. And I have an appointment to get everything in my mouth fixed near the end of the month. So, it's looking up. All right, let's go ahead and get to the stories. It's time to jump right in. This story comes to us from 127 Alpha Unknown. User tries to use a deceased colleague's account to sign in, finds out. Hi, so I work a service desk for an insurance company, non-US, who primarily deals with a specific profession of people. For the sake of anonymity, that's all I'll say. I work in a phone-based team, so our conversation went something like this. Welcome to company, how can I help you today? Caller says, hi, yes, I'm calling from other company and was looking to reset my password. Of course, can I take a username please? Caller gives me a username. It's important to note at this stage that I was speaking to a middle-aged woman, and the name on the account was a male name. Got it? And what was your name, please? I'm Caller. The name you've given me doesn't match with what I've got on file. Are you calling on their behalf? No, they passed away a few months ago, and I'm looking to get access to his account. I've heard a lot, but this was a first for me, and this rendered me speechless for a second, to say the least. Another important factor is that if we have one username, we can pull up all the usernames under that company. At this point, I'd done so, and could see that despite a solid few previously registered users, this was the only active username. Cutting this username off means potentially having this caller look elsewhere. Management frowns upon this. Okay, that's one thing I've not heard before. Please bear with me. I need to speak with a colleague. I ring through to security, and a colleague who is well aware of my type of shenanigans picks up. Thanks for calling security. How can I help you? Security, how's your day? Listen, odd one for you. I've got a caller trying to use user's account. The reason they say they need this is that user has passed away. There is silence on the phone for a good 7 seconds. Sorry, say that again. You heard me. Caller's trying to log in as user who has passed away. Okay, give me the username. Let me pull the company structure up. I pass some information and I hear a sigh. Yup, that's the only username for that company. We'll need to shut it down. This isn't us being mean. There are serious regulations behind these kinds of accounts. Misuse can mean large fines. I figured, if caller registers herself, any chance I can convince you to bump this one to the front? More clicking. Yes, that's fine, but new accounts require approval of director. Okay, I can live with that. Is that the only contact? That's the only person the company listed. Thanks, I'll go back to caller and let her know. I toggle hold back to caller and explain. She proceeds to start shouting as soon as I tell her that she needs director's approval. What do you mean I need his approval? He's out of the country for the next week. I understand that, but I'm sorry. When your company signed up, they were very clear that director would need to. That just isn't good enough. I want to speak with your manager. I do have security on the other line. You'll need to take it up with them. Caller agrees, and I toggle back to security. It's worth mentioning here that if we suspect a call is going to be a complaint, 2 people should be listening to that call, usually a manager from your team. I tell security about the shouting and the quote-unquote complaint. Security laughs and says, fine, my day was too boring anyway, pass caller through. About a week after I do so, a complaints handler catches me on Teams and explains that a complaint was filed against me personally for some reason, and that the handler wouldn't be upholding it. In the end, caller had to wait a week, and I suspect director asked a few more people to register themselves. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Mizinamo. It says, User has passed away a few months ago, but waiting one more week for director to be available again is the problem. Ah, caller, the world revolves around you and your immediate needs, doesn't it? Your lack of planning does not constitute my emergency, or however that quote went. There is a lot of speculation going on in the comments for this one because OP didn't give very much information on what kind of company they work for. They just said they work in insurance. It's quite interesting. Caller said that user passed away a few months ago and caller is trying to access user's account, which is the only account that they have for their whole company. But this also means that they haven't accessed this account in a few months. So I wonder what this account is actually for. If you look at this whole thing from the caller side, they needed access to an account to get their job done, and it's not their fault that their director hadn't made somebody else have access to an account at that insurance company. I'm gonna say the fault here lies completely with the director for not planning after this person passed away for everything that that person worked with to be switched over to another user. So yeah, frustrating that they couldn't access the account right away, but OP and their security person followed procedure and did everything right. This story comes to us from an Eldritch writer. Client refuses to listen and puts ticket in perpetual limbo. I work for the state doing IT work for other state government offices. Specifically, my team handles phone support, Teams phones, VoIP phones, occasionally headsets. Usually, it's pretty bland stuff. But yesterday afternoon, I got a ticket that this one office needs updates to their call tree. Basically, for those who don't know, it's where you call a number and you get the option to press 1 for X, 2 for Y. It can get a little more complicated because you can press 1 for X, and then it can prompt you to press 1 to 5 for A, B, C, D, E. This ticket, tragically, was not a simple update some names and numbers to account for new or leaving employees. It was a full-blown overhaul. Great, wonderful, perfect. I did the parts I'm able to do, update names, remove and add blind transfers, etc. But there were 3 sections I can't do where the gal wanted specific blind transfer lines rebuilt into miniature call trees. That is done by Highpoint. No problem, I put in a ticket for Highpoint, and they responded that they will need main menu recordings from this office for those 3 new call tree branches before they can proceed. I go on the OG ticket and explain this to the gal that Highpoint is working on the remaining sections as that is handled by them and not our office. What they need, and that she can email the recordings to me and I will send them to the Highpoint tech we are working with. Simple, right? God no. I'm pretty sure she just straight up ignored what I said as she instead began demanding a list of what their call flow looks like because I gave them one before. The whole reason I sent her a screenshot of the call tree on her last ticket was because she wanted a section that did not exist on the call tree to be updated and was flipping out about me making things difficult, when in reality, she gave me the wrong call tree to be updated. But I conceded. I told her that the call tree end result won't look any different from the template she attached for what she wants done, and explicitly told her that this is not complete, that sections XYZ are being handled by Highpoint, and they are waiting for the main menu recordings from her. That was the end of day yesterday. I log in today hoping that things will be better. What a fool I am for that. She sent me multiple emails before I even got to my desk complaining about how the call tree isn't finished, how she needs sections XYZ updated to look like so-and-so. Why am I sending her this if it's not complete? Blah blah blah. She was complaining about everything I told her was being handled by Highpoint. So I reiterate to her for the 4th darn time that I can't make any changes to those sections. There is a ticket in with Highpoint to update those in accordance to the template you sent us, but they will not proceed until you send in the new main menu recordings. We are literally in limbo on this ticket because we're waiting on her. There's been no resolution yet since she hasn't gotten back to me or answered my calls since then, but this is just going to be a long circus dealing with her. OP left a really quick update underneath this one. It says, update, ticket got resolved. It took 3 other techs explaining this to her before we were able to get anywhere. And the additional text got dragged into this because she made a new ticket for the exact same thing, even though the ticket was in limbo because of her. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Gelatinous Salsa. It says, at that point, I would just email her manager and ask if they still need this work done or if it can be canceled. Completely agree with this commenter. At this point, you would CC the whole management team at the client to let them know that there's a problem here and the ticket isn't getting finished because of their employee. I bet if OP looked a little bit closer into the contract that they have with this client, that there would be some kind of escalation procedure for situations just like this. This story comes to us from Corin Solist. Interesting audit log check request to start the day. This happened over 2 weeks back, posting now because I have the ending of the story. Framing. For this, I work for service desk for a medical company. Company deals with patient data, care plans, medication, the staff for hospitals and medical units, all that stuff. User 1's manager contacts me. I need you to block User 1's access and give me a log of what they accessed while they've been on PTO. I'm used to these requests due to the nature of the company I work for. Sure. First thing is disable the account and revoke any active login session tokens. I pull the logs from Entra, Intune, Teams, company CRMs, etc. Put them through the system that makes them easily readable for non-tech users, give it a read over to make sure there's no issues, and pass it to the manager. User 1 comes to my desk within 30 minutes. Hey, it says my account is locked out. Can you unlock it for me? The self-service portal isn't working. In a friendly tone, I say, sorry bud, you'll need to speak to your manager. Well, I need it to work, so unlock it. Like I said, speak to your manager. I say this in a more serious tone, and his face goes white. Now, I don't know exactly what they did at this moment, so I'm just thinking he was looking at NSFW stuff or something dumb, not uncommon. User's manager then walks out of lift, looks over at me, and asks User 1 to come with them into one of the meeting rooms and to leave their work laptop at my desk. The user does so, and they get taken into the meeting room. The manager flips down the blinds on the windows that look into the meeting room. About 20 minutes pass. I then see two strangers walk out of the lift and walk over to my desk. You the IT guys? Me looking puzzled, mainly because they didn't have a visitor's badge. Yeah, do you have an ID badge or something? Stranger 1 and 2 then both show me their police officer ID, number and everything, not dressed in the high-vis stuff you normally see. I was told you'd have a laptop for us. Was User 1's, correct? Me, now very much alert as to what's happening. Yeah, right here. Officer 2 then takes the laptop and it's slipped into a clear plastic evidence bag. Officer 1 then hands me a card with their information on it, their police email and contact number. Please forward any of the access logs and such that your manager asked you to pull to that email address when you have a minute. Me, who very much enjoys shows like Law & Order and is very interested at what's going on. Of course, anything specific or just everything? Everything, thanks. I'll contact you back if we need anything else. I've CC'd you and your info security team into the initial email chain with the manager. The two officers then walk into the meeting room. I hear muffled yelling and outbursts. No idea what was said. Those meeting rooms have amazing soundproofing. About 20 minutes later, I see User 1 handcuffed and being escorted from the building. Thanks for your help. We wanted to lock him out of the system while he was in the office with his machine, so he'd bring it over to you. Sorry to rope you into that. Oh, it's no problem, what I'm here for. Hey, as payment, if you can, later tell me privately what that was all about. Haha. Manager said, we'll see, but yeah, if you can forward all those logs you got for me to that officer, cheers. I do that and don't hear anything back. I guess they got what they needed from the initial logs I downloaded. Over a week passes. Today, as of posting this, turns out User 1 tried to sell company information. They got lured in by buyers for the info, who were really a security company that monitors darknet forums for key company info and data, pretends to want to buy the data, confirms the sample of data they get is real, and informs the company, and that leads back to User 1. No data was leaked because the data they pulled was CRM files that only work inside our CRM as they are encrypted. User 1 didn't know they weren't readable outside the company systems, but the buyer's security company had access to a version of the software that can read the files, which is how they were able to confirm the information and, funny thing, the person's name who downloads that data. Their name is logged in the code of the file. Found out today after the manager submitted a leaver request for user 1 and then gave me the details on what happened during my lunch break. So, yeah, one heck of a Monday to start the week. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called DumbWithIt66. It says, I never liked the immediate lock request. I like being involved in chain of evidence issues even less. But the worst is the manager who gets caught up in the excitement and wants to be the hero by telling me to give the cops everything, regardless of policy. I won't get caught up in that mess. I need specific sign-offs to hand over company hardware and proprietary data. But you are that employee's manager, and you can request all that from me and get it right away. And then you can fight with HR, legal, IT, and compliance about it. OP responded to this one and said, yeah, I'm glad all of this was investigated first, and then they got me to lock down everything when the user was in on that day. I don't know, OP. I think what the commenter's getting at here is that the cops walked in and you just gave them the laptop with no other paperwork or anything. Just handed it over, even when you didn't know what was going on, and your boss hadn't told you to give it to the police. Was anybody else here happy to find out that it was only company secrets that were being sold when it could have been so much worse? My mind immediately went to things that you probably don't want to have on a work laptop. You know, things that would give Epstein a run for his money. This story comes to us from Corin Solust, legal threat that backfires. The user, whose last day was 2 weeks ago, the account has been disabled since then, and we've been waiting for them to return the company laptop. User brings the laptop into the office. Hey, I can't access the laptop anymore. Yeah, your last day was over a week ago, so standard leaver practice is to lock down leaver accounts and access. I need my payslips, and I have personal documents on the laptop. Well, for payslips, reach out to the HR team, and they can get you your payslips and other employment documents, but your account is disabled, and as per security policy, you've left, so we can't let you back into the system. I want those files back now! You can't, I'm sorry. That's our security policy. I'd suggest speaking with HR. Maybe they can speak to the security team. They'll just need to look over them to make sure they don't contain company data. Bearing in mind, I work for a medical company and we have strict security. I'm not giving this laptop back until you return my files. In the nicest customer service tone of voice I can give. Your contract that you signed states once you leave, you must return any company equipment, and the IT policy is you should not save personal and non-work related files to the system. User leaves and takes the laptop with them. You'll be hearing from my solicitor. I sighed heavily and flagged it with HR, InfoSec, and the user's former manager. User returned later today, looking rather sheepish and being escorted by security, left the laptop at my desk, and then was escorted out of the office. Something tells me they were a known troublemaker, and that's why they got fired. Or they were trying to steal company data. I did end up getting some praise from management for how I handled that, so that's a plus, haha. You know, I was thinking in this one that if this guy went and actually spoke to a solicitor, the solicitor would put them in their place and say, you're holding on to a laptop that has company information for a company that you are no longer with and haven't been for a couple of weeks. So you're literally telling me that you've stolen this laptop and you're not giving it back. I think it's time for you to go into that office, drop that laptop off before you get arrested. Let me know what you all thought on this one though. Comment down below if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. Alright, I think we'll end this one here. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give us a follow on your favorite podcasting platform. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really does help us out. I thank you all for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.